Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you what I found at Hobby Lobby. Look at this, the detail. Can you see that? It reminds me of the Mexican flowers. And these are actually bowls. They're gingerbread bowls that I found at Hobby Lobby. So today we are going to make these out of candles. And this is going to be, of course, the gingerbread scent. So stick around. Let's get started. Of course, we're going to start by cleaning these out. So I'm just going to wipe these down with some alcohol. When I saw these at Hobby Lobby, I just had to have them for my collection. And of course, this is going to be just a limited collection, just for the season. And if I can find some more, if these do well on my shop, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can order them online. I just thought they were the cutest bowls, and they have a little decor that reminds me of my Mexican culture. The only bad thing about this, it being a seasonal, is that, you can only get a handful of these. So if they do well, you can probably order them online ahead of time. Just depends on how well they do this year. I'll probably order some for next year just to have them in stock. Now I will be using wooden wicks for these, and we're gonna have 2 in each bowl. And I know that they are gingerbread bowls, but I'm gonna do some gingerbread. I'm gonna do some churro scent, and then the other one is gonna be pan dulce, which is sweet bread, because not everybody likes gingerbread scent. These are the wooden wicks, and these are the ones that have that booster on them, so if you can see that. And they work really well. These are my favorite. Gone a little over, so I'm just going to pour some back. Not a little too much. Perfect. Now we are going to let this sit here and cool down to 185 Fahrenheit before I add in my fragrance oil. It's at 195. I do use soy wax, 100% soy wax. So the right temperature for me to add my fragrance oil is at 185. Okay, it's almost getting there. So I add my fragrance at 185 degrees, and then I pour anywhere between 140 to 155, and 95% of the time I get smooth tops. All right, now we can go ahead and add the fragrance oil. This is gingerbread. Oh, it smells wonderful. And I like to stir it anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes just to make sure that the fragrance oil and the wax combine. And also to make sure there's no bubbles. Just keep stirring slowly. So how is everybody's business going? Are you guys all stocked up for the holidays? It is the busiest time of the year for candle makers. I am scheduled to be in attendance to a couple of markets in my local area, which I do very well in the holidays. Last year, for 1 month, I believe I made at least $3,000. So it was a good season. And what's your favorite seller? What is your best seller in your area? And what kind of vessel do you use? Of course, if you follow me, you will know that all my vessels are the authentic Mexican mugs, the salsa bowls, the soup bowls, the bean bowls. And I also do room sprays, wax mounts, and candle tins, like the 8-ounce or the 6-ounce candle tins as well. I'm going to check the temperature. I want it at 155. It is at 189 now. I'm sorry, it's 169. I used to add coloring dyes to my candle wax, but I was getting a couple of complaints that it would just clog up the wooden wicks. So I stopped doing that. So I no longer use any dyes in my candles. I only add them in my wax melts, but not my candles. In all my candles, I do use the wooden wicks. I have not used any cotton wicks, but I do plan to have those available for those that like the cotton wicks. I'll be offering that this coming year. I do have to do some testing, of course, before I can make those available to my customers. I like to give it a stir. And I check the temperature in several areas just to make sure I'm getting that accurate reading with my little handy temperature checker. I have been making candles for about 3 years now. And at the beginning, I was extremely busy. Of course, I did start right at the beginning of the fall season, so it was a good start for me. And then things, slow down after the holidays, of course, and not everybody in Florida lights up candles during the summer. But that is my slowest season. Of course, I'm sure that's everybody's slowest season. I do have my candles in one local shop, and I do plan to expand that in other shops in my area. I have sent out a couple of emails to some local shops to see if they're interested. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens there. I'm really hoping to have my candles in more stores in my local area. I have been keeping up on watching all these videos from other locals or other candle makers that keep me inspired. And I do see how their business has grown. And I like to take it easy on my candles. Don't want something that's going to stress me out or just be overwhelming for me, because I am the only one that makes them and sells them. When I go to the markets, though, my husband does go with me, so he does help. So it's okay to not be so extremely busy. God's going to give you what you can handle. And that's how I see it. So don't get discouraged. Okay. This is almost ready. I'm going to make sure I get every drop of wax in here. Here we go. Smells wonderful. Hope I've lost a wick, and that's okay. All right, we'll fix that in just a second. And that does happen with the wax being hot. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to make sure it's all even.
There's the outdoor. Again, I gotta buy it. Watch.